Good morning, guys. What's up? A few weeks ago, I shared a post on LinkedIn about my top client red flags, and it gained a lot of traction. I got a lot of comments about it, and I wanted to do a rapid fire video of more red flags that I could think of. And while these red flags are from my experience as a freelancer, they're also applicable if you have a small business, and really they're just for anybody who works with clients. So without further ado, here are my 15 client red flags. Number 1 is if they say this is an easy or fast job. If it's an easy or fast job, why aren't they doing it themselves? I am the professional and I will be the judge of whether it is fast or easy. And it is usually not. Number 2 is if they offer low or offensively low pay. You are worth what you're charging. You charge what you charge for a reason. Don't let people lowball you. Number 3 is crazy turnaround times. I've had some clients that wanted to give me 1 hour to complete something. Like I met them and then they wanted me to turn around an assignment 1 hour later. And maybe that works in some industries, but in content writing, that's not the case. My standard turnaround time is 3 business days and even a week for new clients. So don't fall for clients that want you to turn around something fast because they are almost always going to be upset about the work quality or just really unreasonable. Number 4 is people who write really in-depth briefs. And I know this sounds like a good thing at first blush, but what has happened in my experience is people write really in-depth briefs for a project that frankly doesn't need it. And this is indicative of someone who's an overthinker and somebody who might have control issues, and you don't want to work with either of those people. Number 5 are people who want unpaid test work or just outright free projects. As a writer, I do not do unpaid tests projects because I have plenty of pieces available on the internet. My portfolio is readily available. You can see the quality of work. You don't need a free sample to see how it is. I'm happy to do a paid test before we do a full-on contract, but I'm not doing free work, Jack. That's no. 6 is when you're negotiating with someone and they say, oh, come on, I have so much work I'm going to send you. It's going to be great. These people try to talk up the amount of work they have available, hoping that you'll agree to a bulk rate or you'll agree to work for lower pay, whatever. These are promises that they are not going to keep, even if they are genuine. Unless you have the work in hand, you have a contract, or you have a payment for the work, don't take it at face value. Be wary. Red flag number 7 is if the client wants to treat you like an employee. If they are trying to set your hours, if they want you to be online at a certain time every day, or if they're wanting you to approve like PTO or time out of the office, that is not a client. That is someone who's trying to be an employer. One time I had somebody who wanted me to apply for a job through their HR department, even though I'm a separate business entity. And it's really weird, but some people still do it, so just be careful. Number 8 is clients who want you to work based off of results. So these are the people, this is common in freelance writing, where people will say, okay, I'll pay you for your work, but I can only pay you if you get X number of views and X number of comments on this blog. And a lot of new writers fall for stuff like this, and I get why. However, you are worth a certain amount of money as a service provider. You don't let clients decide what they feel like paying you because this is on a website you have no control over. You are not optimizing the back end of the website. You have no idea what these people are doing to drive traffic to it. And if you're trusting their numbers to affect how much they're going to pay you, good luck. You're not going to see a fair amount of money in this deal, no matter what. Red flag number 9 is if they want phone calls all the time. So there's nothing wrong with like the occasional phone call or a kickoff call or something like clarifying stuff. But if a client just is blowing up your phone, these people will take over your time and you won't be able to bill for it. So don't work with them. Red flag number 10 is if they are very vague. If you have a client that says, hey, I want to blog about marketing. Well, that could mean so many things, like what's your brand, who are your customers, what do you want to say about marketing? There's a lot to unpack there. And if somebody is just like, oh, I don't know, whatever, it means that they're not invested in the piece. Their boss probably told them to find someone to write this. And it also is bad for you because you don't understand the requirements going in. Nothing is black and white. Everything is a gray area. And I guarantee that this type of client will have you making a crazy amount of revisions and you will hate it. Number 11 is if they refuse a contract or a deposit. If you don't want a legally binding contract, which, by the way, protects everybody in this relationship, not just the contractor or the freelancer, it means they are not legitimate. They're doing something shady. So move right along. Don't do anything without a contract. 12 is if the client always pays late. I get that life happens. I get that Corona happened, but we do have a contract in place. You have to pay me by a certain date according to the terms of an invoice. Full stop. It always baffles me when writers especially just go months without getting paid and then they continue to do work with this client. So you're just building the debt that they owe you and you haven't seen any actual pay. It's not good. They're obviously not going to pay you and they're getting free work at this point. Number 13 is response time. If a client takes 2 weeks to reply to your email or questions, it's not somebody you want to work with because you're relying on them. The ball is always in their court and it delays things like crazy. And then who are they going to be mad at? Not themselves, even though they're the problem. They're going to be mad at you. Red flag 14 is rescheduling calls. So I get that life happens. I've had to reschedule calls before, like if I woke up sick or if there was a family emergency. I get it. However, I have had people who have rescheduled calls 3 times. And I'm understanding the first time. The second time, I'm like a little annoyed, but whatever. And then the third time, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. The reason you don't want to work with someone who reschedules calls is because it shows that you're not a priority to them, they're not paying attention, or that they're just so damn busy that they can't talk to you. And whatever the reason is, they're not easy to work with because of that. The last red flag is red flag 15, and that is people who ramble. So you finally got a client on a call and then they just go off talking about everything and anything that they can think of. There is no organization or structure to their thought. You try to get them on track by asking very specific, pointed questions. They don't answer what you're asking and they go off on these tangents that never end. This isn't good because it means that the client is not focused. They might not know what they want, and they're not going to give you the information that you actually need to do the work. So not only are you both wasting your time on this phone call, but they're not going to get the work they need because they didn't give you the information because they were too busy talking about themselves and listening to themselves talk. So those are my 15 client red flags. I have an infinite amount more, but I'm curious to hear from you guys. So if you wouldn't mind dropping some of your red flags in the comments and we can commiserate, but also collectively start sourcing better clients that we enjoy working with.